Hey guys, welcome back to the SOC Level 1 series. So in this video, we are going to cover the Security Information and Event Management, which is SIEM. We will be covering all the different sub-modules inside this room. Okay, so let's get started with Introduction to SIEM. So SIEM stands for Security Information and Event Management System. It is a tool that collects data from various endpoints, network devices across the network, stores them at a centralized place and performs correlation on them. This room will cover the basic concepts required to understand the SIEM and how it works. Okay, so you can read the rest of the things regarding the SIEM, what are the objectives, and you can enter the full form for what does SIEM stand for. So Security Information and Event Management System. Okay, let's move on to task 2. So in the task 2 you have to just read different things about what SIEM is, what are the different characteristics within it. So as we know, each network component can have one or more log sources generating different logs. One example could be setting up Sysmon along with Windows event logs to have a better visibility of Windows endpoint. We can divide our network log sources into two logical parts: host centric log sources and network centric log sources. Okay, so these are the two different types of logical parts inside SIEM. Then we have importance of SIEM. Now that we have covered various types of log, it's time to understand the importance of SIEM. So you can read all about the importance here. So is registry related activity host centric or network centric? The answer is host centric. Is VPN related to activity host centric or network centric? It is network centric. Okay, let's move on to task 3. So again, as we have done in the previous modules, okay, you have to perform some activities, and on the basis of that you have to answer the question. So once you perform the activity, you have to answer this question: in which location within a Linux environment are HTTP logs stored? So you have to enter this path and click on done. Moving on to task 4. In task 4, you have to read about the SIEM capabilities and SOC analyst responsibilities, and then move on to task 5. So which event ID is generated when event logs are removed? The answer is 104. What type of alert may require tuning? The answer is false alarm. Moving on to task 6. Click on the start suspicious activity. Which process caused the alert? The answer is kudominer.exe. Find the event that caused the alert which was responsible for the process execution. The answer is Chris Fort. What is the host name of the suspected user? The answer is HR_02. Examine the rule and the suspicious process. Which term matched the rule that caused the alert? So once you perform this activity, you will come to know that the answer is minor. What is the best position? What is the best option that prevents the event? Choose from the following: false positive, true positive. The answer is true positive. Then on the basis of the activity above, you will find this flag which you have to click enter and click on done, and that will conclude this first sub module, which is introduction to SIEM. Okay, so in this entire SIEM module, along with all the sub modules, we will be performing, we will be going through the same process how we have done in the previous videos. We will be going through all the question and answers in these modules, and all the activities are expected to be done by you after reading all the resources. Only that is the only way we can learn it properly, and the concepts will get cleared. Okay, so let's move on with investigating with ELK 101. So in this room we will learn how to utilize Kibana interface to search, filter and create visualizations, dashboards while investigating VPN logs for anomalies. This room also covers a brief overview of Elastic Stack components and how they work together. Okay, so you have to read the objectives. Let's move on to task 2. So here no answer is needed, you just have to read these resources. So log stash is used to visualize the data, yay or nay? The answer is nay. Elastic Stash supports all data formats apart from JSON. The answer is nay. Task 4, no answer needed. Moving on to task 5. Select the index VPN connections and filter from 31st December 2021 to 2nd Feb 2022. How many hits are returned? The answer comes to 2861. You have to perform this activity, and on the basis of that you have to answer these questions. Which IP address has the max number of connections? The answer is 238.163.231.224. Which user is responsible for max traffic? The answer is James. Create a table with fields IP, username, source, country and save. This is supposed to be done in the activity, so no answer is needed. Apply filter on username Amanda. Which source IP has max hits? The answer is 107.14.1.247. On 11th Jan, which IP caused the spike observed in the time chart? This is the IP address. How many connections were observed from this IP including New York State? The answer is 48. Moving on to task 6, create a search query to filter out the logs from source country as United States and show the logs from usernames James or Alberts. How many returns were returned? The answer is 161. As user Johnny Brown was terminated on 1st January 2022, create a search query to determine how many times a VPN connection was observed after his termination. The answer is 1. Which user was observed with the greatest number of failed attempts? The answer is Simon. How many wrong VPN connection attempts were observed in 1st January? The answer is 274. In task 8, no answer is needed, and that will bring us to the conclusion of investigating with ELK 101. We'll move on to the next one, which is Itsy Bitsy. So in Itsy Bitsy, again, there is you have to deploy the machine, use these credentials to perform the activity, and on the basis of that we will be answering these questions. How many events were returned for the month of March 2022? The answer is 1482. What is the IP associated with suspected user in the logs? The answer is 192.166.65.54. The user's machine used to use a legit Windows binary to download a file from the C2 server. What is the name of this binary? The answer is bits admin. The affected machine connected with famous file sharing site in this period, which also acts as C2 server used by the malware authors to communicate. What is the name of this file sharing site? The answer is pastebin.com. What is the full URL of C2 to which the infected host is connected? The answer is this. A file which was accessed on the file sharing site. What is the name of file accessed? The answer is secret.txt. The file contains secret code with the format THM and this flag. So you, after performing the activity, you will get this flag. So just copy it and click on done, and that will conclude our Itsy Bitsy part. Next we will move on to Splunk basics. So Splunk is one of the leading SIEM solutions in the market that provides ability to collect, analyze and correlate the network and machine logs in real time. In this room we will explore the basics of Splunk and its functionalities and how it provides better visibility of network activities and help in speeding up the detection. Okay, so we'll move on to task 2. Again, in task 2 you just have to deploy the machine and use this follow the instructions. Which component is used to collect and send data over the Splunk instance? The answer is forwarder. In the add data tab, which option is used to collect data from files and ports? The answer is monitor. Upload the data attached to this task and create an index VPN logs. How many events are present in the log file? 2862. How many log events by the user Malina are captured? The answer is 60. What is the name associated with this IP address? The answer is Smith. What is the number of events that originated from all countries except France? The answer is 2814. How many VPN events were observed by this IP? The answer is 14. And that will bring us to the conclusion of this Splunk basics room. Now we'll move on to next one, which is incident handling with Splunk. So this room covers an incident handling scenario using Splunk. An incident from security perspective is any event or action that has a negative consequence on the security of a user, computer or an organization. Below are the few events that would negatively affect the environment when they occurred. So just read through these objectives and prerequisites. We'll move on to the task 2. So no answer is needed. You just have to deploy the machine and perform this task. Again, no answer is needed. So in task 4, one Suricata alert highlighted that the CVE value associated with the attack attempt. What is the CVE value? So this is the CVE value that you have to enter. What is the CMS our web server is using? The answer is Joomla. What is the web scanner the attacker used to perform the scanning attempts? This is the answer, Acunetics. What is the IP address of the server iamreallynotbatman.com? So this is the IP address. So in task 5, you just have to follow the instructions. What IP address is likely attempting a brute force password attack against I am not really batman.com? So this is the IP address. What was the URL of which got multiple brute force attempts? So this against which username was the brute forced attempt made? The answer is admin. What was the correct password for admin access to content management system running I am really not batman.com? The answer is Batman. How many unique passwords were attempted in the brute force attempt? The answer is 412. After finding the correct password, which IP did the attacker use to log in to the admin panel? The answer is this. Moving on to task 6. Sysmon also collects the hash value of the processes being created. What is the MD5 hash of program 3791.exe? So this is the answer. Looking at the logs, which user executed the program 3791.exe on the server? So this is the user that executed the program. Search hash on VirusTotal. What other name is associated with this file? So you have to search this on hash total on VirusTotal and you will get this answer. Moving on to task 7. What is the name of the file that defaced the I am really not batman.com website? So this is the file name. FortiGate firewall, FortiGate UTM detected SQL attempt from attacker IP 40.80.148.42. What is the name of the rule that was triggered during the SQL injection attempt? So this is the answer. Moving on to task 8. This attack used dynamic DNS to resolve the malicious IP. What fully qualified domain name is associated with this attack? So this is the answer for that. Moving on to task 9. What IP address has poison ivy tied to domains that are pre-staged to attack Wayne Enterprises? So 23.22.63.114 is the answer. Based on the data gathered from this attack and common open source intelligence sources for domain names, what is the email address that is most likely associated with poison ivy APT group? So this is the answer. Task 10. What is the hash of the malware associated with APT group? So this is the hash. What is the name of the malware associated with poison ivy infrastructure? Miranda Tate screensaver.scr.exe. And that will conclude our module incident handling with Splunk. Now we will move on to the next one, which is investigating with Splunk. Again, you have to deploy the machine and perform certain activities. How many events were collected and ingested in the index main? The answer is 12256. On one of the infected hosts, the adversary was successful in creating a backdoor user. What is the new username? The answer is this, A1 Berto. On the same host, a registry key was updated regarding a new backdoor user. What is the full path of the registry key? So this is the path. Examine the logs and identify the user that the adversary was trying to impersonate. The answer is Alberto. What is the command used to add a backdoor from a remote computer? So this is the answer. Okay. How many times was the login attempt from the backdoor user observed during the investigation? The answer is 0. What is the name of the infected host on which the suspicious PowerShell commands were executed? The answer is James Brown. PowerShell logging is enabled on this device. How many events were logged for the malicious PowerShell execution? The answer is 79. An encoded PowerShell script from the infected host initiated a web request. What is the full URL? So this is the full URL in defanged format. So that's it with this part. Moving on to the next one, which is the Benin. Let's just quickly go through. Yeah, it only has task 1. Yeah. So in this room, again you have to deploy the machine, perform the task, just follow the instructions, and then you have to come here and answer these questions to complete the module. How many logs are ingested from the month of March? The answer is 13959. Imposter alert. There seems to be an imposter account observed in the logs. What is the name of that user? The answer is this, Amelia. Which user from the HR department was observed to be running scheduled task? Chris.Fort. Which user from the HR department executed a system process to download a payload from a file sharing host? The answer is Harun. To bypass the security controls, which system process was used to download a payload from the internet? The answer is this. What was the date that this binary was executed by the infected host? The date is this. Which third-party site was accessed to download the malicious payload controlc.com? What is the name of the file that was saved on the host machine from the C2 server? The answer is benin.exe. The suspicious file downloaded from the C2 server contained malicious content with the pattern this. What is the pattern? So you have to enter this pattern. What is the URL that infected the host connected to? So this is the URL controlc.com/548ab556, and that will bring us to the end of this SIEM module as a whole. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if this video was helpful in your path, just consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.